Emily was left in the middle of the trash, wrapped in a soaked cloth. The smell was unbearable, and flies already circled as if sensing the worst. Among food scraps, a broken bottle reflected the light of the rising sun. Her cries were weak, spaced apart, almost soundless. Someone heard from a distance but thought it was an injured cat. The city woke up without knowing that there, in a forgotten corner, a life was beginning. A life at the mercy of fate. A recycling collector named Michael approached, startled. He thought it was a dirty doll, just another discarded object among tons of neglect. When the cloth moved, his legs trembled. It wasn't a doll. It wasn't trash. It was a tiny human soul. "Oh my God," he whispered, pressing the baby girl against his chest. His metal cart became an improvised cradle, creaking with every step. No one else noticed the miracle passing between black garbage bags. Michael had no fixed home. He slept under a nearby bridge. But that morning, he decided he would not leave that child there. He didn't know how to prepare a bottle. He didn't know how to change diapers. He only knew how to survive. Still, he felt something that wasn't logic. It was pure instinct. "You're going to live," he said, as if making a deal with destiny. The wind blew cold, scattering torn papers across the street. The trash seemed to watch in silence. At the first police station, they laughed at him. A homeless recycler holding a baby was, to them, a suspicious sight. "Where did you get that?" one officer asked, narrowing his eyes. Michael insisted he had found her at the dump. He handed her over carefully, but the disbelief in their stares weighed more than the dirt itself, until her cry started again, proving the truth. A social worker arrived an hour later, rushed and indifferent. She took the baby from Michael's arms without saying thank you. "We'll process this," she muttered, as if she weren't speaking about a person. He tried to explain that he wanted to help, but no one listened. His metal cart stood empty on the sidewalk. The wind pushed it slowly, making one crooked wheel spin. And just like that, Michael lost the only pure thing he had ever found. Emily was taken to the municipal hospital, placed among incubators. She was too small, weighing less than 6 pounds. The nurses whispered, calling her the trash baby. There were looks of pity, but also judgment. She slept surrounded by machines pulsing in steady rhythm, unaware that her story had already begun with scars. In the report they wrote, "Newborn found in unsanitary conditions." There was no name, no exact date, just a medical estimate. Emily became a number in the system. The cold record erased the human warmth Michael had tried to give her. On that paper, no one described her searching eyes or the way her tiny hand reached for something. She was just another case, another abandonment. But in the corner of the file, someone scribbled, "Cries differently." Days passed, but Michael's memory of her only grew stronger. He returned to the hospital every morning, carrying flowers he had picked from the trash. Security guards forced him away, saying he couldn't enter. Still, he left the wilted stems by the door. The nurses began to recognize him from a distance. They called him the Flower Man. But each petal meant promise, meant hope. One nurse, named Grace, decided to intervene. In a moment of humanity, she allowed Michael to see Emily for 1 minute. He approached slowly, barely breathing. Through the glass, Emily moved her hands as if calling for him. It was the briefest moment, and the most alive Michael had ever felt. There, the garbage became witness to an unlikely bond. Something inside him awakened, like someone who still believes. But the hospital director found out and punished Grace. Michael was threatened with arrest if he returned. The city had no place for people like him, nor for stories like this. Emily was transferred, then to a children's shelter in a cold van. The fogged window prevented her from seeing the recycler waving from afar. The metal cart remained under the bridge, covered in rust, and the rain began to fall, washing away what little hope was left.